Don't hurt the hand that feeds you. TLDR. Boss takes credit for my monthly report. She looks like a fool when she cannot answer questions. Boss asks me to log all my work. I log wasted time logging my log. I switch departments and she suddenly is forced to find a new job. Less than. Hopefully I do a good job considering my TLDR is 3 sentences long. Sorry. I'm working for a pretty big company. Lots of departments. Lots of "we are the best" talk. And we really are. Core values are followed pretty well and major issues get dealt with quite well. Apart from my boss, who we can call Gail. She's a micromanager to say the least. And a workaholic who expected you to do a lot, but never outside of your normal shift. Since she thought OT was the devil for us hourly workers. The first MC was Gail tasking me with this monthly report to hand up the chain to Mandy, who was a pretty big deal. The report was intensive and very in-depth, so it took a lot of unpaid OT to learn and get it down. Gail did not appreciate it and questioned what I was doing as to why it was taking so long. More on this later, as learning something out of my scope was not too appropriate. Myself and Mandy got to know each other well and developed a great working relationship which certainly benefited me as much as it could. We were generations and countries apart. No romantics. Gail found out Mandy was asking me questions about my sites, and for some reason didn't take too kindly and informed me that any and all communication from myself to Mandy must go through her, Gail, including this report. Thankfully Gail has a company-wide reputation for being a bit cray-cray, so I could hear Mandy roll her eyes on the phone the first time Gail sent her the report rather than I had told Mandy that Gail knew very little about this report, especially the most important part, and 2 specific questions would likely have her forward those questions to me to answer. So of course those 2 very specific questions were brought, but not by email but rather on a big call of big wigs just as I happened to step out of the office, and was unable to field quick questions from Gail over the computer. And the feedback was nothing but a roasting for Gail, as she had of course said the report was hers initially, and thus the report was taken away from Gail and I altogether. This upset Gail, so she hammered back why I didn't do other work while I was learning this report. 6+ months had passed and I had it down to an absolute science that took no time updating, and asked me to begin logging everything I do every day. Due to other factors in this job, HR was already looped in on everything that was going on between Gail and I, so this was as well. As you can already guess. The long story short is this log was filled out to the minute. After every task, phone call, or anything I did, including time for filling out the log. The amount of detail I put in for this log, Gail wanted as much detail as possible, allowed for me to actually spend 23 minutes filling out this log for even the smallest task of a passerby of my office door asking me a quick yes/no question. I loved it. This unfortunately didn't allow me to complete all my normal tasks daily. And by the end of the first week I had quite the pile of additional work. Gail, myself and HR got on a call to discuss all this after the week. And HR obviously sided with me and told Gail to either push work off me to someone else, or get rid of this log that showed I was skipping breaks. Good thing I wrote the log. These weekly calls also got myself a separate payment for an estimated but realistic amount of unpaid OT due to the first paragraph in another project. Good guy hour. Despite HR making my life a lot easier, Gail did not, so I made the decision to switch departments entirely. Zero carryover. Within 2 months of my switch, the entire department was functionalized with a few other departments due to creating a better balance of work to employee, changing the job scope of all my former colleagues entirely, and coincidentally rendering Gail's job useless. She was pushed to a special projects role for a year, where special projects then magically ended, and she was let go. My new manager likes to send emails out of those under him who were promoted. She was able to see 2 of those with my name on it. The second just days before her final one. Seriously. I had a few bosses in my life who lived by the motto, just leave me alone, and I'll make you look good. And fortunately not only did they practice what they preached, so their bosses left them alone. They paid it forward to us below and left us alone as long as we made them look good. Which basically just meant do your job. Nothing fancy. Plot twist. Gail is now logging her unemployment applications with the same detail. Ah yes. Special project. Anyone who has worked long enough knows that's code for you done messed up. Ron. But we can't easily fire you because you're too high up. Here's a year to go find another job. Piss off. Quote. Did you go to Gail's going away party? If she had one, I would have and promised to bring in a celebratory cake the next workday. Petty but worth it. 8 hours 2 minutes and 37 seconds am. Task. 8 hours 3 minutes and 14 seconds am. Logging task. 8 hours 3 minutes and 49 seconds am. Logging task. 8 hours 6 minutes and 22 seconds am. P break. 8 hours 7 minutes and 6 seconds am. Logging, P break. 8 hours 7 minutes and 33 seconds am. Logging, P break. Why people always do this. Pass work off as their own. Excel and Google Sheets have date and timestamp shortcuts. There's also free apps like Clockify. It's amazing how a bit of task logging makes uppers stop asking you why you haven't finished something when you can show your incompetent coworkers taking up all of your time. She was like a gale wind beneath your wings. Hey, never ever work for free. You are selling your time, knowledge, and skills to your employer. You deserve to be paid for that. Boom. That's a mic drop. Thumbs up. Light skin tone. Manager in charge of making sure this wall exists. Oh gosh, the special projects, kiss of death, where everyone knows there's some adverse action being taken against an employee, but we all just agree that Karen would do great in special projects. Until that project inevitably ends. This story seems really familiar.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.